Last fall, Idaho officials started looking into the mysterious disappearance of two children, 7-year-old Joshua Vallow and 17-year-old Tylee Ryan, who hadn't been seen since last September. However, in the months since they were reported missing, officials have yet to locate the children, and the case has become increasingly suspicious. In November, law enforcement visited the home of Lori Vallow and her husband Chad Daybell to perform a welfare check on JJ and Tylee. The couple told police the children were living in Arizona. When law enforcement arrived the next day with a search warrant, they discovered the couple had abruptly fled. What has transpired in the months since has only perplexed officials further. While the couple was recently found in Hawaii, they have ignored court-ordered deadlines to bring the children to authorities, and the whereabouts of the children remain unknown. This isn't Lori's first husband. She was married to a Charles Vallow. After almost 13 years of marriage, Charles Vallow filed for divorce from his wife, 46-year-old Lori Vallow, in February of 2019. According to Vallow's attorney, he expressed genuine fear for his life and, under our advice, obtained an order of protection against Lori Vallow. Lori and Charles have one adopted child, 7-year-old Joshua JJ Vallow, who is Charles' biological grandnephew. Lori and Charles had legally adopted JJ. Lori also had her biological daughter from a previous marriage, 17-year-old Tylee Ryan, living with them at the time. During divorce proceedings, Charles stated that his main concern was that JJ was safe and cared for. The 7-year-old has been diagnosed with ADHD and autism spectrum disorder. Tylee was not involved in the proceedings since she was not Charles's biological daughter. Court documents stated that Lori claimed she was a god assigned to carry out the work of the 144,000 of Christ's second coming in July of 2020. He also claimed that Lori became infatuated and at times obsessive about near-death experiences and spiritual visions. When Charles suggested visiting a doctor, Lori refused, stating that they would discover that she is a translated being. Lori was involved in the Doomsday Prepper group Preparing a People. That's the name of it. Her loved ones were very concerned this was a religious cult. She appeared on the Preparing a People podcast on several different occasions, sometimes alongside Chad Daybell, an author of religious-themed fiction novels, which is her current husband. Lori reportedly became obsessed with Daybell's books the more that she worked with him. In March 2019, Charles dropped the divorce proceedings. In July of 2019, he was shot and killed. Charles Vallow was shot by Lori's brother, Alex Cox, on July 11, 2019, in Lori's home in Chandler, Arizona. According to police, Charles and Lori were living in separate homes at the time but got into an argument while Charles was visiting his wife's home. When Cox attempted to de-escalate the situation, Charles struck him in the head with a baseball bat. Cox then shot Charles twice in the chest. He was pronounced dead at the scene and no fouls were charged. According to the property manager, neighbors reported a pool party with loud music and a lot of people swimming later that day at Lori's home. Approximately 6 months later, on December 11, 2019, Cox was found unresponsive in his home in Gilbert, Arizona. He was later pronounced dead. According to officials, they are still awaiting an autopsy report to determine the cause and if foul play was in fact involved in Cox's death. Here's where it starts getting even more weird. Lori's first husband, Charles, was introduced to Lori by a man named Jason Mao. He used to be a Chandler police officer. He is still a police officer, but now with the city of Phoenix. Chandler police are the ones investigating Charles Vallow's death. Jason Mao is also a preparing a people follower believer. Something doesn't seem right with that. Did Jason Mao have any input on Lori and Alex being innocent and acting in self-defense? Because the police body cam footage seems to show the on-duty officer being a little too nicey nice to someone who just shot someone, and whose story isn't a complete match with Lori's version. All the stuff about Lori actually thinking that she's some sort of god or angel is ridiculous and nuts, to say the least. She actually believes the world is going to end in July of 2020. She sounds completely delusional. It reminds me of the recent case where that woman drove into oncoming traffic and killed someone because she honestly believed that God would intervene and prevent the accident from taking place. If Lori actually believes all this stuff, then all the murders that she and Chad have been associated with, as well as the disappearing kids, would seem justified to her and Chad. It's so messed up.